In a world where the sun celebrates its days off and the only thing you hear is the whistle of warm wind, but the time has come to push the ignition button. No review, no daily driving. It's the GTI Performance Days. The Volkswagen Up, Golf and Polo GTI, proving the maximum on the racetrack with the reputation being one of the best. Ascari, girls, really fast cars. Acceleration times of all three GTIs. And head-to-head races. Which GTI is the best on the track? And the man sitting for you on the driver's seats is neither Magnum nor Tom Selleck's lost son. It's still your Carmania presenter, Chris, who just lost a bet and now looks like this.
Hi and welcome to Carmania here in Spain, and for every one of you not knowing me, this is how I look like in my normal reviews. There is still this amazing driving performance and driving experience that the Nissan Leaf gives you, what actually no other EV car can give to you, and I promise I will look the same in my future reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for not missing any episode anymore, and yeah, I lost a bet. And I don't know what's more embarrassing, the fact that I'm talking about myself in a third person in the intro, or if it's this shirt or this moustache, but anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. It's the focus on the GTIs, the Golf, the Polo and the Up GTI. And if you'd like to see more episodes about the GTI special, just like comparing the Golf to the Polo, which is faster, a head-to-head race on the racetrack, we're going to experience a lot today, the pure racetrack driving. Let's get it started.
I will drive all three GTIs now on the track, but before each car, you can get forwarded to an acceleration video. In this case, the Golf VII GTI, just by clicking on top right.
So this is a manual transmission Golf GTI Performance, and of course that makes a really big difference while driving it, because it's not as spontaneous as you know it from the DSG, so you really have to reach the perfect revs. But if you do so and have the traction control switched off, what Volkswagen normally doesn't allow you to do, it makes really lots of fun. If you drive on the racetrack once with your GTI or with a GTI, I recommend you to switch off the traction control, otherwise it slows you down to 50% of the engine power. This is how I feel it, and that's no fun. So the exit of the curve is no fun of driving it with the traction control, and that's why. Just switch it off if you are an experienced driver. So as you can see, it makes lots of fun for having a bit of variety. Driving a manual transmission is really fun because I also got used to automatic transmission, and like this, it's a variety that the car gives you, not always a DSG, so you have more driver's work, and that's of course lots of fun. So anyway, with the performance package, it's anyway a lot quicker, so driving in the curves, even on this wet ground here, as it was rainy yesterday, you have no understeering with a front wheel driven car. That's not rare, but the performance does it really, really well. And of course the brakes, this is something that I have already said, the brakes of these Volkswagen GTIs are amazing. So still, even after having driven several rounds on the circuit, it's still amazingly reliable and not spongy. And this is what I also experienced with the Golf. And as you can see, the Golf R, which is driving in front of us, isn't so much faster. Maybe he could be, but these are the driving experience drivers from Volkswagen. The driving behavior is fantastically precise, so the steering goes where you want it to go. It's sliding a bit, so if you are exiting a curve and giving full throttle, it's sliding a bit, where the Golf R doesn't, with its all-wheel drive. That's really lots of fun driving with the manual transmission, because you've got that work that you normally don't have with the DSG. We're really good at sticking to the Golf. Sometimes that's why the people say that these performance GTIs with the performance package and the front wheel drive, there are parts of tracks, depending on how curvy a circuit is, where a front wheel driven car with the performance package is faster, or it's more work to be done, and that's really, really fun to drive. I think a lot more fun than an all-wheel drive, which gives you more security, and that's of course less fun, less work. So the GTI, thumbs up. Okay, wir können gerne zur Box zurückfahren.
Okay, wir nehmen noch eine Abkühlrunde kurz, dann schnappen wir uns die Drohne noch und dann düsen wir zurück.
So if you... I always see myself in the screen of the camera with that embarrassing moustache. So if you'd like to see the review, the in-depth review of daily driving practicability and daily driving with the Golf VII Performance with the facelift, click on top right and get forwarded to my in-depth review. And leave me some thumbs up if you like the video, of course, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for not missing any videos. And I promise, in the next videos, I won't be looking like a cheap copy of Magnum.
And again, get forwarded to the acceleration video. See how the Volkswagen Up GTI performs by clicking on top right. And if you click on top right now, you will see the head-to-head race between the Polo and the Golf GTI.
The Up GTI, it's the weakest GTI in the GTI family, 115 PS. And somehow it's not as accepted in the GTI community as the Polo or as the Golf, because it doesn't, I think it doesn't look, it's because it doesn't look like the Lupo GTI used to look like. Even a really small compact car with just a really short wheelbase, but in the end it looked more brutal. The Up is a bit more kept back, and maybe that's one main reason why the GTI community is not accepting it that much. But now we're trying to prove that it is a GTI here on the Ascari racetrack, and of course it's not going to be the same, just like with the Polo and with the Golf. But if you hear this sound, this is something that I already recognized in driving it in Monaco. It has this nice 5-cylinder sound. You hear that? So it's far away from being a normal Up. Now, of course, you shouldn't be expecting that much from the Up, just like from a Polo or from a Golf. But if you go away from that thought and just insulate the Up as it is, you can really have fun with it. Just take a look at it. So there is two major differences between the Golf, Polo and the Up. The Up is the only one in the GTI family which doesn't have where you can't deactivate the traction control, and that means that you can have really nice speed in the curves, but it regulates. So it takes the power back only a little bit at the end in tighter curves, just like this one used to be. But mostly, you can drive the full power. But of course, if you are an experienced driver, you don't want to have any kind of traction control and systems taking over your driving. And this is something what the Volkswagen Up cannot offer. Number one. Number two is the seats. While the Golf and the Polo have really, really good racing seats with amazing lateral support, the Up doesn't. So as you can see, I'm sliding from the left to the right. The half of my back is just not in the seat anymore. Now you can see it. Now it takes back the power. I'm sliding, and this is due to missing lateral support of the seats. What a pity, because they look nice, especially with these GTI typical patterns, but with this checked pattern. But it's more for city and country road driving. On the country road it's totally okay, because you're never going to drive curves like these. Now it took back the power again. But on the racetrack, you can really feel the difference between a Golf, Polo, and a and Up. I always want to say Lupo because it's basically the same. It's kind of an homage to the first Golf GTI, almost the same power with its 115 PS. But regarding the driving performance and the driving fun and the sound, you shouldn't be underrating this. So Golf doesn't just stick GTI logos on the back of the car and says this is just a marketing gag. It's not. So it's really a GTI. It's really quick, and the sound is surprisingly impressive. And as you can see, we're just annoying a bit this Golf R. Okay, he's driving slower than he could. You can believe this. But with the front wheel drive, even if it doesn't have a differential on the front wheels, it makes fun, because before you would need the differential, the traction control just regulates the power down. But besides this, even here the brakes, after 10 rounds on the small circuit here in Ascari, on the small part of the circuit, the brakes are still really, really reliable. And take a look at how fast you can drive it here in these curves, and how you can throw it around. Okay, the chassis, the dampers are a bit spongy compared to the Golfs and compared to the Polos. And for people criticizing the Up, this is enough to say, well, it's not a real GTI if the suspension isn't that stiff. But you also have to see how many people will be driving how many times a Volkswagen Up on a racetrack, and the plus points, so the pros, definitely go to the brakes, which are so amazingly reliable. The manual gearbox makes really fun of just shifting the gears, really crunchy, short. It's a GTI gearbox, and that's the most fun, driving these chicanes, these S-curves. And the sound is so stunning. So I'm, look, with this compact car behind the Golf R. look how we stick to him. This car is really fast, believe me. That makes really fun driving it. So the main differences that you have to know: not possible to deactivate the traction control, no lateral support with the seats, but it's not like I would be missing some engine power, definitely not. The Volkswagen Up on the small circuit here on the Ascari racetrack, and just like the other Golfs, just like the other GTIs, it's really surprising and a lot quicker than you expect these cars to be, because nowadays modern diesels have 300 PS and you think that you can just battle them. But as soon as you drive on the racetrack like this, these GTIs really reach their benefits, and that's Yeah, so if you'd like to go on the racetrack with the up, it's not going to disappoint you. Maybe only if you're coming from, if you trade a Golf or if you trade the current Polo for an up, then of course you can feel the missing power. But besides this, there is nothing to moan about. Really, really, really cool car. And in this class, there isn't any comparable compact car offering this performance.
Don't forget, if you'd like to see the Polo GTI accelerating, click on top right and get forwarded to the acceleration video. Before we start driving on the racetrack with the Polo GTI, I'd like to recommend you the GTI Special GTI Legends. Together, we'll be checking what's changed in the GTI history of more than 40 years, starting with the classical Golf I GTI up to the current 7th generation. I have filmed all of them for you. Just by clicking on top right, you can get forwarded to the GTI Legends Special.
You surely also watched my video, my in-depth review of the Polo GTI in Mallorca, where I was also driving on the racetrack on the Mallorca circuit. And it was quite impressive how successful this video was. That's why I say if you watch this, you also might have watched this. About 460,000 views until now. Thank you very much for watching it and sharing it. But now, it's of course a nice thing to have the possibility to test the Polo GTI on another racetrack here in Ascari, especially comparing it now to the Golf and the up, because I drove one after the other, as I still feel the Golf, and it's the perfect way for comparing it. And I have to be honest, I don't really feel a difference between the Polo and the Golf. Maybe I could say that the Polo is more agile than the Golf is, as it's smaller, has a smaller wheelbase, and it has less than 1,500, it's about 1,400 kilograms, and that makes it really agile. Again, just like in Mallorca, we have the Golf R driving in front of us. Especially these S-curves, take a look at that. Take a look at that, how stiff this car is. Look how we're sticking to the Golf R. Look at this. I don't know if he's now driving on the limit or not. He's a race driver, but that's quite impressive. Take a look at that. Wow, man. So I am brave enough to say that the Polo makes more fun on the racetrack than the Golf does. Really. It feels stiffer as it has a smaller wheelbase, especially in chicanes and S-curves, just like now following up. Take a look at this. So damn brutal. Unfortunately, you can't see on the video how damn fast this is. Look how we're sticking to the Golf. On a smaller circuit like here, the Golf cannot take a benefit from his performance advantage of having 310 PS. So that's basically 110 PS more than we have, and look how we stick to him. That's so amazing, and the brakes again, so damn reliable. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Just a little bit of understeering, but hey, still doesn't cost you time. So it was on the border. Now he's trying to get rid of me in the rear mirror. I can see that he's a bit pissed maybe. So let's try to keep up. And how the car pulls to the inner side of the curve with that front wheel drive, that's unbelievable, man. It feels so damn good. Now the wheels get a bit spongy, so we're sliding a bit. The street is, the asphalt is totally dry and warm. With its 200 PS, this small body of the car is so freaking agile and so unbelievably fast. Take a look at this, how we stick to the Golf and he's trying to get rid of us. Maybe he doesn't like my face because I'm so ugly with this moustache. But hey, woo! We were drifting a bit. We were drifting a bit, ladies and gentlemen. How he pulls you to the inner side of the curve so that you do not have understeering, that's freaking. And now he's a bit ahead of us because I just slowed down a bit, and now let's try to catch him again. We're just in his rear bumper. Yeah, it's really a close thing. He's also sliding a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, the Polo GTI. Cool down Runde, okay? So ladies and gentlemen, the Polo GTI, even more than in Mallorca, convinced me and just kicked me off my feet. Also, the walkie-talkies are just freaking out. So these 200 PS and 320 Newton meters, its acceleration time is slower than the Golf's is, but only a half of a second. But you can win so much back on a tight circuit like here, where you have so many curves following one after the other. So we weren't driving the whole track. It's 5.4 kilometers, has 26 curves. So even if you drive the whole circuit, it's the car being smaller and lighter has the advantage, even if you have 45 PS less than the Golf has, and even less torque, less Newton meters. It makes so much more fun to drive it because due to its bigger body, the Golf feels a bit chunkier on the racetrack. So the Polo, I'm not sure if there is any other car in this class that makes so much fun driving it on a racetrack, especially if you switch off the traction control. You really have to drive a Golf R with an all-wheel drive to keep up, and that's a word, my dear friends. If you'd like to see the in-depth review of the Polo GTI, don't forget to click on top right. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, leave me a thumbs up if you like the video, and see you again soon. Of course, not like this, again the normal way.